What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. We have a lot to talk about today. For me, it was a pretty rough day. We have DraftKings and Disney just tanking down, Palantir struggling. A lot of these growth stocks are taking a hit, so we're definitely going to cover that. There's a lot of volatile movement to the upside and the downside today. We had that Rivian IPO. We have the market going crazy. All in all, there's a lot to talk about today. Make sure you guys stick around to the end of today's video. We have a lot of great news and a lot of great plays for tomorrow. And let us know what stocks you are watching in the comments down below, and we'll probably cover them in tomorrow's video. But Tom, I know that there was a lot of hype with this Rivian IPO. How's it looking?
Yeah, the IPO is looking pretty good here. We actually have some key inflation numbers to talk about a little bit later, so stick with us, guys. But Rivian had an awesome day today, actually IPOing and running up pretty well in the beginning. You know, they ran up to $119, and then they started selling off, kind of like what we see happen with a lot of these IPOs. I know Coinbase and a lot of these IPOs that got really hyped up, they normally start running right at open and then start to tank off, kind of like what we saw today. And honestly, this was an awesome valuation today. They came onto the market above $90 billion, which is actually higher than both GM and Ford, which is crazy that they would come onto the market with a valuation higher than Ford, which has been honestly killing it lately, up here to $20 a share. But man, it was a crazy IPO. It's been going crazy. Rivian's actually backed by Amazon and Ford, which has attracted a lot of interest from a lot of investors trying to catch the EV sector right now. And overall, the company is actually yet to establish a business model and expects no more than $1 million in revenue for the third quarter. So I can't believe that with not even having $1 million in revenue, they're already valued higher than General Motors and Ford.
Yeah, it's crazy. And just one thing to keep in mind with IPOs is like, yeah, there's a lot of volatile movement and that can be great for like short-term trades, but just be careful because like, especially over the past year, like we've seen IPOs just go crazy. Like Tom pulled up a perfect example with Coinbase. It ran all the way up to like $430 on its like first day of trading, and it basically lost half of its value a month later. So just be careful, guys. You know, it's a very hyped up IPO, and just know that they're normally really volatile.
Yeah, and they were actually set to come onto the market around $76. And like we saw with Coinbase, they were actually expected to come onto the market around $180. And over the course of them falling down, they ended up getting pretty close. So I would look for Rivian to maybe go down a little bit more. I'm not saying they'll fall down to 76, but definitely look for a little bit of downward movement.
Yeah, and just one thing to keep in mind is like since it's like so new to the market, there's not like any major resistance or support just yet. So in terms of like price levels to watch out for and things like that, you're just gonna have to eye it out. Of course, there is support right now around 95, and then resistance right around 120. But since it was only the first day of trading, that's really all we have for now. But we'll definitely keep our eyes on it over the next couple of weeks. But Tom, I know we had some pretty big inflation data come out today. What's going on with that?
Yeah, we actually saw the SPY tank off pretty drastically in the middle of the day today. Those inflation numbers came out pretty early in the morning, and as we can see, I'll actually bring up an article for it. The CPI data came out and jumped 6.2% in October, the biggest inflation surge in more than 30 years. I thought that was a pretty drastic thing. We also had the Evergrande situation happen today. Apparently, they finally defaulted, but overall, our market really took a big or really had a big sell-off today to the downside. We can see the SPY broke below 465 and had a huge drastic move all the way down to 462. Definitely not good with these inflation numbers coming out. You know, all these inflation numbers, we've been talking a lot about it lately, and the Fed has even started to taper their asset purchasing and stuff like that. So there's definitely lots of stuff going on. Just the main thing to keep in mind is that inflation's rising right now, and it's rising at pretty rapid rates. So keep that in mind. It's really tanking the markets to the downside, at least today. We'll have to see what happens over the next week, though.
No doubt. All right. So, Tom, we can't forget about Disney earnings. I know it was a pretty highly anticipated release. I know I was really watching it, and so far it's been pretty disappointing.
Yeah, it has. They actually lost on just about everything, unfortunately. Their EPS was 37 cents adjusted versus a 51-cent expectation. Their revenue came in at 18.53 billion versus an 18.79 billion expected. So they didn't really lose out too much there, but yeah, it was a little bit of a loss. CNBC reports that the company may show slowing growth of its Disney Plus streaming service, which is not a good sign at all. During the Goldman Sachs conference in September, CEO Bob Chapek actually said that the segment's growth has hit some headwinds and that Disney expects to add low single-digit millions of streaming subscribers in the fourth quarter, which is a pretty unfortunate sign there. Lots of people are looking for these Disney Plus numbers to come in with some strength and a good outlook, but it actually came in with the opposite.
Yeah, so it sucks to see that. Now the good thing is that we've had a really volatile earnings season. Like you look at Teladoc from what, like 2 weeks ago. They tanked down on earnings, and then the next morning they exploded to the upside. Like we could see, like that earnings report was pretty bad, and then the next day it's just exploding up. And I know it came back down a little bit, but it just goes to show you that even though Disney's down right now, it's not over just yet. And like even if you look at Palantir, like they definitely tanked off. But even if you look at Neo, Tom, that one sold off yesterday and it came back a little bit today, at least in the morning. So all in all, it sucks to see Disney fall on this release, but it's very volatile.
Yeah, and at the same time, I feel like this was just also really bad timing for Disney. We have the market coming down today with these inflation numbers. We have all these growth stocks going down. There's also lots of stocks going down with earnings in general. So it's just been a really crazy earnings season. And today was really crazy nonetheless. And, it was just kind of setting up that way for Disney with the way that the SPY was moving. That was just such an unfortunate move to the downside today.
No doubt. So let's get right into today's member of the day, which is Wall Street Pirate. So huge shout out, Wall Street Pirate. Thanks for being a great member of the community. You're always posting some pretty good things and you're pretty active. So thanks for all of your support. And it's great to have you in the Discord. So huge shout out to you. And now, Tom, let's get right into our momentum plays for tomorrow. With the first one, we have Teladoc, but to the downside.
Yeah, with Teladoc, go ahead and make them fall below 136.50. That's going to be a pretty good support.
All right, with the next one, we have Chewy, also to the downside.
Yeah, CHWY, they're actually right on this support right here. Go ahead and make them fall below 71.50.
All right, and then with the last one, it's PG to the upside.
Yeah, Procter and Gamble and Pfizer for some reason were on fire this week, but go ahead and make PG break out above 147.31.
Sounds good. So we are watching Teladoc and Chewy for potential day trades to the downside tomorrow, only if they break below the levels Tom listed. And we are watching PG for a potential day trade to the upside tomorrow, only if it breaks above the level Tom listed. And we have to showcase this bot play on PG. So the bot called out the PG 146 calls at $111 each, and it ran all the way up to $166 each a couple hours later. So it was a pretty good bot play. If you want to trade with the bot, Tom and myself, every single day, you can click the first link in the description and the comments down below. Daily option swing trades, day trades, and access to an awesome community. We have a coupon running and you can cancel at any time, so definitely check it out. And let's get right into these comments from the previous video. With the first comment, we have Kim just saying DraftKings. So this is like my baby. I love this stock, love it for the long term, but it has been struggling a lot in the short term. There hasn't been like any major catalyst with it. I know that their uptrend really reversed when that news of the Entain deal possibly going through, that just totally reversed the stock. And then the Entain deal was canceled and it made it pop up for a little bit. Then we had earnings, but all in all, we've just been seeing a lot of selling pressure with this one. And something that's very interesting is that the short float is pretty small. It's like 6%, right around there. And that goes to show you that this selling pressure that we're having right now, it's not short sellers coming in. It's just people who already own the stock panic selling. So it sucks to see in the short term. They're really on offense. They're, constantly making new deals or advertising all over the place. They're adapting with NFTs and, they're on offense. I love them for the long term. They're in an industry that's growing rapidly. So I'm not really worried about them for the long term, but for the short term, it definitely does suck to see this type of movement.
Yeah, it really does. And, I'm starting to actually average in here on this dip. So, as it keeps going down, I'll keep averaging in lower and lower. So hopefully it keeps dipping for my sake, but for everyone else's sake, I hope it ends up holding at this $40 support and goes back up. That's going to be a big support there. Unfortunately, we've seen some bad technicals come in lately. They've had a pretty bad head and shoulders set up here on the daily chart. You can see I kind of circled the the head here and then the two shoulders. And then unfortunately, we had that break of that blue trend line down here over the past couple of days, which just has not been too good. Hopefully we hold $40. And if we break that, I'm definitely eyeing up $35 after that. But like I said, I'm averaging in as it dips down, and hopefully it goes back up over the next year or two.
Here we go. And then we have Sun saying, thank you for the video. What do you think about Wish? So WISH, they just had earnings, which is good to see. It is popping up in after hours. This one, it's just not worth the risk, in my opinion. It's fine for like really short-term momentum plays. I believe they have a new CEO. I just saw that news come through the Thinkorswim news section, so that could be good. But honestly, it's just the chart looks pretty brutal, and I just feel like they're just kind of like a gamble play.
Yeah, me too. Their daily chart's just been really rough lately. And, we've seen other stocks not move the best. Like we can see Corsair hasn't really been moving too well, but they've been holding their ground a lot better. We've also seen stocks like PLTR not moving the best, but at least it's trying to hold its ground a little bit better than Wishes and some of these smaller price stocks.
There we go. All right, then we have technology asking about AGC. So AGC is definitely uptrending in a pretty quick way. I've been seeing a decent amount of smart money flow into this one as well. I like the risk on this one. I feel like it has potential to pop, but at the same time, I would also call this one a gamble play.
Yeah, me too. This is actually a pretty crazy setup, though, and I would definitely look at it for some momentum plays. It really looks like it had a very strong close today. And I'll be honest, it looks like it might pop tomorrow if you can see a good breakout, maybe of like 15.50 or even $16.
All right. And then we have with the next comment, we have Jeff saying Palantir was brutal today. Ouch. Yeah, Palantir has been struggling so much too. Their earnings were actually pretty good, but the market has been ruthless to these growth stocks lately. You look at Palantir, DraftKings, Corsair, like the list goes on and on and on, and they're just struggling. So it sucks for the short term, but for the long term, if you grab some shares, maybe grab some leaps, sell some put options. That's a cash secured put, so you're selling the put, not buying it. If you do something along the lines for like a long-term bullish strategy, it should be pretty awesome, but I'm really hoping for a pop back up pretty soon.
Yeah, me too. And, we've talked about them quite a bit lately. And as we start to get into the holiday season, I really hope that Corsair starts to get some good numbers come out and stuff. And I really feel like that their next earnings report over here in February might be a lot better than the one they had now.
All right, Tom. So do you have any last minute stocks, options, or anything you're watching for tomorrow?
I'm still eyeing up some earnings plays again for tomorrow. We don't have quite as much tomorrow as we had today. Today was a pretty crazy day. We had Fiverr go crazy, AFRM and Disney. SoFi even reported here. Tomorrow, I'm going to be looking at Blink. SNDL is going to be reporting, even Lordstown Motors and even PHUN. Lots of people have been talking about them a lot lately. So tomorrow is going to be pretty interesting with that. But overall today, man, we had a lot of stocks move up on earnings from yesterday. Unity actually had a very interesting earnings report. And you can see this was another one of those stocks. Hopefully Disney pulls a Unity. You can see Unity kind of tanked off there in after hours, then flew right back up the next day. I know this has been a pretty popular stock lately with the metaverse and everything. So I'm definitely going to have them on the radar. And then Fiverr actually had a great move off of their earnings yesterday and ended up having a nice pop. So I'm definitely going to be watching those two stocks, Unity and Fiverr, with those awesome moves that they've had.
Here we go. So if you guys like our content, make sure to subscribe. We post brand new videos every single day, and let us know what stocks you are watching in the comments down below, and we'll probably cover them in tomorrow's video. But thank you guys so much for watching, and let's have a great end of the week.